Oh, the bumper came off.
Oh, no.
Hey, stop!
Hello YouTube, it's Dirty Mike here. It's finally time to go ahead and do a quick walk around build video, just breaking down some details on the Sequoia. Figured some of you guys would like to see this, so let's get into it. So starting from the basics, it's a 01 Sequoia. It's got the 2UZ 4.7 liter in it. Original engine. I did have to replace the transmission, so it's got a junkyard transmission in it. It is running a 3rd gen 4Runner manual transfer case, which is modified to accept the front range off-road twin sticks. You see right there. So it's got 2 sticks in there for the shifters. You got 2 low, 4 low, and then 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. So this is her. It's sitting on 40-inch Mickey Thompson's 17-inch Raceline wheels. It has got Ford 1-ton axles under it. It's got a Dana 60 up front. It's from an 05. Both axles are from an 05 and newer F250 or F350. It is a super, what they call a super Dana 60 up front, and a Sterling 10.5 rear. It's a full floater in the rear. The truck is sitting, I don't know, I would say maybe 5.5 to 6 inches taller, total height, taller than a stock one. So, but I think the tires and everything are pretty proportionate. The front and rear fenders are cut pretty bad. Or I should say a lot. Let's see, the front, I'll give you kind of a breakdown on the front. So we've got Dobinson springs for an 80 series Land Cruiser. They are the Dobinson MRR universal shocks. These are 14-inch shocks. And you can see the reservoirs there. These shocks are amazing. I have the Dobinson, the IMS series in the rear, also for an 80 series Land Cruiser. The only thing universal is the front shocks. So these guys here are their universal series, and these are 80 series springs that I made work. So I am running a radius arm setup on this truck, and it is from Barnes 4-wheel drive. It basically comes with your links and your mount there, and your links go to the factory locations on the Ford axle. Works out pretty well. Radius arms have their pros and cons. A lot of factory setups use them, and they work well for depending on what you need. So, but you can kind of see they bolt right to the factory axle. And they've got an upper link and a lower link, and it allows you to adjust your caster and your pinion angle. The lower link is adjustable, so I can move the actual axle forward and back. This truck is running factory drive shafts, front and rear, factory rear drive shaft. So they are like literally factory Sequoia drive shafts. As far as the springs and the shocks go in the front, this is a F250 coil spring bucket that came right off of a F250 frame. I did cut it and added a longer shock tower to it, so I can get a longer 14-inch shock in here. This shock tower, I believe, is from the rear of a F250, an older one. I couldn't tell you what year right offhand. Got some braided brake lines on there. The steering box is from a IFS 4Runner. I think you'd be looking at like a 2nd gen IFS 4Runner. And basically the front of the frame on both sides is plated. It has reinforcement plates welded to the frame, and then I drilled and then I inserted some DOM tubing into the frame and boxed it all in where the steering box is to make it nice and stout. And I'm using kind of like a hodgepodge of steering components, but it's all Toyota. Just a mixture of the Toyota 4Runner box steering components and also the Sequoia linkages. So, and in the front here, you'll see we've got some steering linkages. It's all aftermarket, it's all Heims. Got some stainless bolts on the diff cover there, nice and pretty. Some lipstick on a pig. Aluminum radiator. So we'll just keep going on this. Got a set of TEQ custom headlights in here. I love these things, they're awesome. Got a bunch of rigid lights. Got the backlighting in there. Got an aftermarket power steering cooler right here to help keep the power steering system cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the front end. I'm sure there's going to be a lot that I'm missing, but feel free to ask questions in the comments. The oil pan, factory oil pan, it does not hit because the drag link and the panhard or track bar, they are both bent to clear, so you can see the drag link has got a bend to it so it clears, and the other one is bent down so when it flexes up it clears it, and it'll go to full compression and stuff these 40s in here. You can see that been using the fender well as a bump stop sometimes, but it works. I still need to do something with the air box. Right now I just got this blocked off so it doesn't just get soaked with water, but we'll get there. We've got a set of universal trail gear, I believe, sliders that are welded right to the frame. You can see here. So they work pretty good. I am going to be working on some skid plates soon. So I'll touch base on this real quick. A lot of people don't understand this concept, but radius arms, they bind when you go to flex them. So what I did, and I didn't come up with this idea, but it works really well. I cut the upper length on this side and made a slip joint and put a pin in here. And this way on normal driving down the road, I run the pin and it drives nice. It's basically acts as a sway bar. It drives nice and stiff. It doesn't have a ton of body roll, and it's pretty reasonable to drive down the road with no sway bars, front and rear. Now you take that pin out, it allows the axle to, as the axle is flexing up and down, it allows the axle to rotate back and forth, which allows the full motion of travel. So these are 14-inch shocks, and I get every bit of travel out of those shocks. There's no binding in the front end. Like I said, pros and cons of the radius arm setup, but they work really well for what I'm doing with the truck, and I'm very happy with them. See my race lines, which I had powder coated. It's the color is called a translucent copper. I absolutely love the color on these things. Before we move to the back of the truck, see my hood vents. So funny story about these hood vents. These have been on multiple cars that I've owned. These are from a Z34 Chevy Lumina. So kind of crazy, but they fit the body lines, I think, pretty well. They're fairly flush, and so all right, we'll work our way back to the back of the truck here. These fenders are cut a lot. I think I did an okay job at hiding it, but everything right here has been cut. If you start right here, this is a factory line here, and you can see it starts to go up right here, and this has all been cut and boxed in. I welded it and boxed it in and all the way down. So this is all boxed in right here, welded. I put a sealer on there, but you can still see I'm rubbing through in a few places, like up here and whatnot. Every once in a while it'll tap the filler neck for the gas line or the gas tank, but it is what it is. I think, you know, this, you know, retard is what it really is, but it works. All right, back of the truck here. We've got a Ford Sterling 10.5, and I am running all of the basically the Toyota Sequoia drivetrain or suspension. These are, other than the springs and shocks, which are 80 series, just to give the lift that I need, but it is all, the geometry is all from the Sequoia. When I put this axle in here, I was in a hurry, and I basically cut off as much as I could off the factory axle and then re-welded it on this one. So you can see the panhard mount, that's right from the Sequoia, welded right onto the Ford axle. It is all worked pretty well, but I'm slowly going to be changing things on the back end here. Actually, either today or tomorrow, I am cutting off the panhard bracket on the frame side and the axle side, and I'm going to be welding a new bracket on the frame on the passenger side, and then going to the driver's side of the axle. The reason is because right now, this right here matches the same angle as the front one, and I believe this is causing some kind of oddball driving characteristics that I'm having. So I think ideally you want them to be facing the opposite directions, and I think it helps keep the truck level and stable over bumps and stuff like that. So that's something I'm gonna be working on. I already have all the parts and everything for it, so I'm gonna be working on that soon. If I didn't mention it, the truck is on 538 gears. The rear has a Ford e-locker in it from a newer version F250. It's basically like a bolt-in ordeal. You just got to run the wires for it. It's a 12-volt on and off locker. It works really well. They're also very cheap, so easy to come by. The front has a like a Spartan style, lunchbox style locker. It's good. It works really well, but sucks for steering, so hydro assist is in the works. Then we have a bumper that a friend of mine built with a spare tire swing out that I added to it later on. It is not pretty, but it works, and at some point I want to redo everything on it and see if I can tuck it up higher and all that good stuff. So so that's the basic breakdown of the old Sequoia here. I figured I'd kind of go into, you know, a little bit more detail later on of each individual part. If anybody had any requests on like how to set stuff up or how I did a certain thing, you know, just let me know. But I feel like this will give you at least a good idea of what the truck is made of and what, you know, gets it to where it is now. So yeah, so anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions. See y'all later.